This is the 10th episode of me trying to find the best possible horror book recommendations. It is the final place that we are testing out, and I'm very excited to get some book recs from TikTok. TikTok is a different breed for recommendations, so I'm really excited to discover some new books that I've never heard of. I feel like they're so good at that. If you have not seen the first 9 episodes, make sure you check that out because I will be ranking them all at the end of this episode. Just a reminder that I can read one book from an author I have read from and liked. One book has to be a new to me author, and the third one can be another new to me author, but it can also be an author I have read from and disliked. I am so excited to get some recs, so let's find the first one. So, TikTok is not a place that I spend much time, but it has influenced reading so much, so I absolutely wanted to get some recs from here, and I found this video.
I've read over 1,000 horror books. Here are some that actually creeped me out. No one does horror like Jonathan Sims. 13 Stories is similar to the Magnus Archives in the sense that it pieces together a larger, interconnected narrative about a haunted house through a series of short stories. Some are more horrific and chilling than others, but they all have a very menacing and grotesque vibe that will thoroughly creep you out.
The creator, Sonia, has a lot of recommendation videos. I am trying to get personalized recommendations in different kinds of ways. And 13 Stories reminded me so much of Pen Pal by Nathan Auerbach, which is one of my absolute favorite books. This is told in 6 short stories, like piecing events together. And I really enjoyed that format. So I think that something like 13 Stories could work really well. I'm truly so excited for this. This is a new to me author. So I'm gonna read some of their stories. Oh, there's stuff that's like blacked out. This is very interesting. I'm super excited for this. So I'm gonna read some stories and I will let you know my initial thoughts soon. I'm a little confused. This is not at all what I was expecting. I was expecting 13 different stories of this dinner party, like from the perspective of the dinner party, but we are getting 13 stories of these people getting their invitation to this dinner party. But we have no information about the dinner party at all. So the prologue starts off, you can see there's like some redacted stuff, and it says, Legacy of a Butchered Billionaire, the Life and Dismemberment of Tobias Fell. And it's by this guy that's a crime editor. So it talks about this dinner party where all of these guests are there. They don't know why they're invited, and this case has never been solved. And it is known as one of the creepiest unsolved murders. We don't really know why. Like, we know that it was a very horrific death, but nobody seems to know what happened. There's all these conspiracy theories and stuff that have gone on with it. And based on the prologue, I was like, absolutely 5 stars already. And then we switched to learning about the guests before they get their invitation. So story 1, we are following Violet. And if we're being honest, these stories are not very memorable so far. So Violet has a roommate and they live in this apartment and she works the night shift, and that's pretty much it. And that was 35 pages. And then we get Jesus. I literally read this yesterday and like I don't even know. What does he do? I'm really struggling with feeling like I'm not connected to anything because everything feels kind of very mundane and pointless. Oh, he's an art collector. So his story is about him buying this art piece that nobody seems interested in, but it's really calling to him. Then third is Carter, and Carter is making this like in-home kind of like smart assistant that does like everything for you. Like it's like Alexa and Siri and stuff like that to an extreme. And it's called Donna, and Donna starts to malfunction. And then the fourth one is Anna, and she, what, I don't remember. This is the last one. The most memorable one for me by far was Carter. The very first story really did not stand out to me. And then in Anna's, Anna is a kid. So we find out at the beginning that there's a story that has a mother, daughter, and a child. And Anna is like a literal child. We're following her existing.
So absolutely not what I was expecting from this. Like I said, I thought it was going to be all at this dinner party figuring out what happened. So I am really, really interested in seeing what is causing everybody to be invited, and obviously how the like horrific things go down. But I'm also kind of nervous because like I really don't understand what's happening.
Your face is dusty. Nova and I are here because I am now to page 238 of this book, 13 Stories. I'm trying to not cover her because she's very cute. So I'm not going to go through all of the different characters that we're meeting like I did in the first part. I feel like it doesn't really matter. I mean, obviously it matters when reading, but you don't need to know that information. We are watching these people that are in varying degrees of connection to the guy that is murdered at the beginning. Some of them work for him, some of them live in buildings owned by him, and there's some like strange things going on with things that this guy Tobias is connected to. He's been accused of different things, and then also there's some like supernatural kind of things going on with some of the properties he owns as well. There's people that are like seeing things, there's weird measurements of things where it's like, how does this exist in this context? And I think it's just like, okay, I think that I just like wanted this to be something else based on the video that I got the recommendation from, and then the prologue. I just thought that it was going to be something very different than what it is, and it's not that it feels disjointed, but like part of the reason that I picked this was because I loved Pen Pal so much, and I think that because that was all following the same character, it made it feel like everything was more connected. And this just, it feels like I'm reading a bunch of short stories, which is okay, but I'm just not really invested. The stuff that's like creepy that's happening, I just don't really care about because I don't really know anything about the characters. I don't know. Like, I'm liking it. I think that there's been some like very interesting concepts in some of these different stories. And like, I really do want to know how they're all officially connected. I desperately want to know the details of this party, but that's only because of the prologue, not because of everything else. Oh, Bowser, are you jealous? Yeah. Yeah, I thought this was going to be different than what this was. I had a really good thought going in my brain, and then Bowser distracted me, so sorry about that. If I think of it, I'll let you know later, but I am going to finish this. I hope we get some answers and some details of the dinner party and not just like left with nothing when it comes to that. I have finished 13 stories, and I'm really disappointed in this. I was expecting to be so creeped out the whole time that I read this. I was expecting it to be kind of like high action, maybe not high action, but high stakes. And I did not feel that. There is some gore in this book, but it wasn't enough for me to like care about anything because I didn't care about any of the stories that we were getting. So we're getting the 12 guests that are invited to this party, and then the 13th story is the party itself. I know I mentioned before that I thought that the whole thing was going to be this dinner party and then maybe the aftermath of it, or the dinner party from 13 different perspectives, kind of piecing together everything, and at the end we have the full picture. But it was not that. I didn't really care about these people leading up to getting the invitation. A little bit of the information felt useful, but at the same time, I feel like I could have read the last chapter with like a tiny bit of backstory of the people before this and cared about the last chapter just as much. And I was never invested in any of the people, any of the stories leading up to this. So, I didn't hate my time reading this, but also I didn't love it. So I think I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. So we're starting out with 25 points for TikTok. I had not heard of this book before picking it for this video, but once I heard about it, I was like, that's gonna be 5 stars. So I'm so disappointed. Like, I'm really upset. I wish that I was scared. I wish I was creeped out. I don't know, but I just did not feel that. So sad times for me. Let's pick another book. Okay, going back to TikTok, I'm a little nervous, even though there's literally no reason to be,
but I really need to find a book by an author I have read and liked before. So I'm on the hunt for that. We'll see how easy that is. So I found one that has so many recommendations on it.
Here's my extensive guide to books you can read for spooky season.
These recs are done by subgenres, so it's pretty easy to find something that I will like. And I absolutely did. And it's by an author I have read from and loved. So here's some books that I have read from this list that I have loved. So I'm thinking that this one could work for me because I seem to have somewhat similar taste.
Gone to See the Riverman by Christopher Triana. The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates. A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. Sundial by Catriona Ward. And Near the Bone by Christina Henry. Fleens by Nat Cassidy. Incidents Around the House. We Used to Live Here.
And here's the book I'll be reading.
For slashers, I chose I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones, and this is from the POV of the slasher.
I cannot wait. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year. A slasher from the slasher's POV. Sounds so good, but also these two are some of my favorite books. Both slashers by Stephen Graham Jones. So we're gonna ignore the one I didn't like of his and just like call this 5 stars now, right? I cannot wait to start reading it. Like, so excited. I'm a bit further into I Was a Teenage Slasher than I anticipated being when I checked in with you, but I'm 158 pages in, which is in the middle of a chapter because they're pretty long chapters, and I was like, oh, I should probably talk to everybody about this book. And also, I've been kind of putting it off a little bit because I'm not as obsessed as I thought I was going to be. I don't know. I feel like it's just confusing right now. And also not much is happening. I don't know how to explain it. So we are following Tolly Driver in July of 1989 in Texas. And Tolly and his friend Amber are going to this party. And there is a very strange occurrence that leaves some people dead. And the way it's talked about, I'm like, is this Tolly or is it something supernatural? Because this is called I Was a Teenage Slasher, and he's talking about this like event that happens and telling us about like this thing that's possibly supernatural. And I'm like, are you just covering this up with like this story because of your trauma from it, or like what is going on? I feel like I just don't understand. But I've looked at some reviews and I saw somebody that gave it 5 stars that said they were confused for a lot of it. So fingers crossed that I could still really end up loving this because I like the character. I generally like what's happening, but I'm just like, I don't know what's happening even though I kind of like it. I don't think it's going to be something that I'm like completely obsessed with like My Heart is a Chainsaw or Night of the Mannequins, because both of those I was really obsessed with like very early on. But I liked the concept of this. I just wish that the stuff that's happened so far was a little bit shorter because we are watching Tolly like in the present day, reminiscing, talking about everything that happened. So Tolly and his friend Amber, Amber's the only native student in town and Tolly's father has died recently. So they are like nobodies other than the fact that they have this like one defining feature, and their status in their like school class impacts how they are kind of moving about the world. Tolly also has a peanut allergy, which has been mentioned a lot. And I'm just like, that has had me questioning things. And I don't know. I feel like I don't really get it yet, but I'm hoping to. I don't know. I'm a little scared that I'm not gonna love this. Like, this was one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I'm liking it, but I sound like I'm not because I'm so disappointed that I'm not obsessed with it yet. It is at the point where I feel like it is starting to pick up some. The thing with that is there have been moments that have happened throughout, but then it's like kind of boring in between, and you're just like, so what's real, what's not? Like, I don't know. I'm going to continue reading. Here's the thing. I accidentally read 42% of the book. So I might do a quick check-in once I'm maybe 75% in. Or if I don't have anything to say, it'll be at the end because I'm already so close to being halfway in. I am 238 pages in and I am liking it a little more now. I feel like there's been not more answers to things, but I feel like a little more direction it's feeling. I'm liking seeing this
a very interesting friendship between Tolly and Amber, and then seeing how like their town is impacting them. But I'm not obsessed. Which I'm just so sad about, even though I am still liking this. I don't know, I'm not invested. I do think that this should be shorter, but also I'm enjoying the stuff that it's doing in regards to like being commentary on slashers. I don't know. This one is really hard for me to talk about. I love slasher books. Like, I think they're so fun. And I've seen some slasher movies, but I'm just like not really big into movies. Like, I love going to the movie theater because I like the experience and like getting the popcorn. Also, I find it easier to focus on movies in a theater versus at home, where I'm like, oh, I could be doing this or this or this or whatever. I'm liking it. I'm liking what it's doing, but I think that if it was shorter, I would be liking it more. But I also think it's a fun time. Like, I don't know, it feels very unique. I'm having positive feelings. I think at the end I'm going to have positive feelings, but like, I'm just sad that I'm not obsessed with it. But also, like, I just don't know how to talk about it, so I am so sorry. I am going to, I think, play Luigi's Mansion. I've had this from the library for a while, and comic mischief. That's funny. And I really want to play this, and I'm kind of feeling like doing that now. It's very cool that my library has games that I can borrow. So I might do this. We had to buy new Switch controllers, so I have the cool Halloween-y ones. And I also might cut my hair. I've been thinking about doing it for a long time. And I just had like a memory, like not a brain memory, like a Google Photos memory. And I cut my hair like a year ago, almost exactly. Also, like my shirt, while I'm just talking about random things. Today, I have learned that if you're in a bad mood, all you need to do to feel better is to watch The Chicken Shop Date with Andrew Garfield. I'm so completely obsessed with that, and I just need you to know that about me. Because if anybody also has watched it, I want to talk about it. Okay, I feel like this was just a weird update, but I don't have really much to say about the book. Yeah, I'm gonna go cut my hair. I'm sorry, but seeing Shrek just like peeking out is so funny to me. I did cut my hair. This is what it looks like. I cut my own hair. I have for, oh god, at least 6 years. Last year was the first year that I cut layers in it myself. This year, I really went for it more so with the layers. I might cut some more. It just depends, because I washed my hair and then I cut it, and I want to wash it and see how it looks like with how it dries with this haircut. But I'm very happy with it. I wanted some volume in it. It was getting just like very weighed down. So that's my hair update for you. I'm happy with it. Have I checked to see if the back is even yet? No. But that's a problem for after I wash my hair. So I have finished I Was a Teenage Slasher. I don't want to talk to you about it. Okay, here's the situation. I liked how it ended, but before that, okay, it's not that I didn't like it, it's just 3 stars, but it feels like the end of the world for me. I didn't like officially pick a most anticipated book of the year, but I feel like this one might have been it. If not, it was in the top like few most anticipated books of the year. And I just want to cry because I wasn't obsessed with it. I did like it. I liked the way that it ended. I liked the friendship that was in here. I liked the commentary on revenge and slashers and stuff. I don't know, I felt very disconnected from the story. And I'm just really, truly so sad. Because, like, my love for My Heart is a Chainsaw and Night of the Mannequins, just like, I was convinced, like, wholeheartedly, there was no part of me that thought this was not going to be 5 stars. And I wanted to lie to you I wanted to just like pretend, well, I didn't want to lie to you. I wanted to lie to myself and say that it was 5 stars and I was loving it, but I couldn't do that. So I'm really sad. I will absolutely continue to read from Stephen Graham Jones. He has another book coming out in February, March or something that I already pre-ordered, even though it's historical horror, which scares me. Well, sometimes it works for me. I really liked The Reformatory and also Lone Women. Both of those are historical horror, so like I think I could like it, but like I just kind of want to cry. My cats are fighting. I'm sad. I should go watch Chicken Shop Date again. No, I can't because I need to start my next book. So let's pick that. So looking around TikTok, there's one book that is mentioned a lot. A lot of people love this book. Okay, there's another book that's mentioned a lot, Intercepts by TJ Payne, which I think I brought up in another one of these videos and said to read it if you haven't. Oh yeah, the Kindle Unlimited one. Still read that book. TikTok also loves that book. I love that book. But the other one that I was seeing a lot of came up in this list of somebody talking about their 5 all-time favorite horror books. And I've read 4 of the 5. The 5th one is the book that's very popular on TikTok. The other 4 were all 4, 4.5, and 5 stars for me. So not my all-time favorite horror books, but ones that I really enjoyed. So here are the 4 books.
These are my top 5 favorite horror books of all time. Intercepts by TJ Payne, Dead 11 by Jimmy Giuliano, Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey, Nestlings by Nat Cassidy.
Funny I mentioned Intercepts. Intercepts is my favorite from this list. And Dead 11 has one of the best first chapters I've ever read in my life. I read the first chapter and I was like, I have to go buy this book immediately. With a 4-star, 2 4.5 stars, and a 5-star on this list, I have to read the final book, which is
The Black Farm by Elias Witherow. It is gory, it is scary, it is absolutely terrifying.
So this is an extreme horror book. There's a lot of extreme horror on TikTok. I'm not opposed to reading it. I don't read a lot of extreme horror, but sometimes it can be very effective. Sometimes it can be gratuitous, and I don't specifically mind that either, but it's not always a favorite. I'm so curious about this one because why is it so popular? Also, it started off on Reddit. I can't say that's one of my favorite things, but I've had 2 5 stars from previous Reddit books, Pen Pal and We Used to Live Here. So, like, maybe this is another good one. And I'm very excited to read it. I'm putting all my trust in Gabe Reads. TikTok, are you okay? This being the book I saw the most on TikTok, I'm maybe, 40% into The Black Farm. Dumb Audible doesn't give percentages, and I can't get my hands on a physical copy. Okay, so this book, it's been going. So we are following this couple, Nick and Jess. I'm pretty sure his name is Nick, at least. And they are going through like a lot together. They have suffered a miscarriage, and there's just like a lot of things going on in their personal lives. And they decide that they are going to have this like suicide pact, and they swallow pills together, and they just want everything to be gone. They want the pain to be gone. They don't want to deal with their lives anymore. So like it starts off very sad, and then they wake up thinking that they were gonna just like be in the black void forever, not really experience anything anymore. But there's this place called the Black Farm that is like this purgatory for people who have committed suicide. And it was created as an in-between because I guess God and the devil decided that they didn't specifically deserve to go to either place. But then the Black Farm has turned into this very, very, very awful, terrible place. It is run by the Pig Lord or something like that. It's definitely a pig. And then there's Pigborn, which are these like weird creatures that are born in this land that kind of serve the pig king. He's not really a king, but pretty much. And they can do whatever they want to whoever they want. But if you die, you kind of respawn and you start over. You can sacrifice yourself to the pig lord if you don't want to deal with this, and then he'll like eat you, and then maybe you'll go to hell, maybe you'll go to heaven. But that also might only be the first time you end up there, but like you don't really understand how horrific it is at that point. In the first like 25%, I'm like, that we're this early on and this is what's happening. It's been rough. It's been so rough. Was not expecting some of these things to happen, and it's like also sad. And Nick is just trying to find Jessica. That's what we're calling her for now, because he doesn't want her to be suffering anymore. Like, they decided to do this so that they weren't suffering, and now it's like even worse because they still have the pain and the feelings from before, but they're also in this like horrific circumstance, like with their location. So that's how the Black Farm is going. I think it's very interesting. It's keeping me very engaged. I think it's a unique like take on this purgatory situation, but like, am I liking it? Talking about extreme horror is hard. I don't know how to do it, so I'm gonna go read instead. Bye.
It's October, yes, but it is so hot up here. The temperature is so annoying at this time of the year. In the morning and at night, it's so cold, and then it gets really hot. And I'm in an attic. It is like furnished. It has like normal walls. Like, it's a normal room, but it is in the attic. So the temperature up here gets like really weird, and I'm just so hot. So that's why I'm not in my usual crew neck. I have made it about 2/3 into the Black Farm, and I am liking this. Since I last checked in, it's been very action-packed. There's always things going on, like moving around and trying to figure things out and get out of this situation. We have met the pig, like head farmer pig, and he was a gross dude. He was. The stuff that happens in the first third is like horrific and very disturbing, and then in the second part, it is still horrific and disturbing, but not as detailed and more just like gore and violence. And not that I want to be like completely disturbed, but I don't really love books that are just like violent and like people swinging around weapons and fighting each other and stuff. And that's not all that happened, but it's a lot of what happened, so it lost my interest a little bit. I do think that the story is still really interesting and feels unique, but I'm not loving it. It still is very messed up, disturbing. There's been some like, ugh, but I don't know. I feel like I was feeling a lot of feelings the first time I checked in, and I'm not now. But I am looking forward to finishing. Well, looking forward to maybe isn't the correct term, but I do want to know how this ends. I finished the Black Farm. I feel like kind of frustrated with myself because this last episode has taken way longer to get out than the rest of them, because I sadly didn't love anything, so I wasn't wanting to pick the books up, and it was just like, I haven't read anything else. It just, I don't know, put me in a bad mood. Here's the thing. I didn't hate this book. I didn't hate the last book. They were fine. They were okay. But I think there was just like something in my head, which with the last one, it makes sense that I was expecting that to be 5 stars. This one I was expecting to be 5 stars as well. But I haven't read from this author before. I don't know. I think people are so convincing when they love books, and it makes me think I would also feel that way, especially considering I gave everything on the list I picked this from 4 to 5 stars. I generally enjoyed the end of this. I just think that in this book, there were a lot of conveniences. And yes, there are in every book, but I feel like the way that it was done felt, I don't know. There were things that happened. I'm like, that would not happen. If you are in this horrific place, like, people aren't going to just let you do whatever you want because you feel like it. Not that he was doing whatever he wanted, because there were some very horrific things, especially towards the beginning, that he went through. But I don't know. There were just things that I'm like, that like truly does not make sense in this world with this plot. Like, I don't believe that would happen. And I think that's the issue. It's not the conveniences, it's the believability. And I truly can't rationalize it in any way other than it's literally just to move the plot forward. Because there are some things where I'm like, you have to like kind of let a little bit go, but this one, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I think that this was an interesting concept. I think that there were some very unique parts to this book, and it was like very sad, but it just was not a favorite. I mean, that it makes the way I've been talking in this video makes it seem like I'm not liking things, but I'm just disappointed because I had such high hopes.
That being said, we do need to go over the ratings. Also, this is the last episode. This is the last of the 9 platforms. Just a reminder that there will not be an ever-end episode because their algorithm was only recommending me books that I've already read and rated on their website. Well, it was their app. But, like, you can go in and give ratings to books. Some of the books I did listen to the audiobook on there, and then some I've rated it. And if I rated it, I don't need you to recommend it to me. And it was just not going well. It was making me angry. Also, if you missed any of the episodes, there is a playlist linked in the description where you can check those all out. One more thing before the ratings. I am planning on doing this again in the future. I read horror and thriller books, so I would like to do this with thrillers. I do plan on formatting it a little bit different. It will still be the basic setup, but there will be some changes which I think will work for everybody. So for TikTok, we started off with 2.5 stars, so 25 out of 50 points for 13 stories. I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones with 30 out of 50 points. And then The Black Farm, I'm going to give it 3 stars, so another 30 out of 50 points, which puts TikTok at 85 out of 150 points, which is not great. And once again, part of why this episode took me so long, the ratings put this at the very bottom. So tied in first place, we have BookTube and Bookstagram with 135 points. In third place, we have Reddit with 130 points. Tied 3 ways in fourth place is Goodreads, Kindle Unlimited, and The Storygraph. In 7th place with 95 points, we have Pango Books. In 8th place with 90 points, we have Libro FM. And in 9th place with 85 points, we have TikTok, which honestly surprises me a lot. So that is the final ranking, kind of. As you can see, we do have some ties. There will be a tiebreaker round for first place coming in November, probably mid-month, because with Bookstagram and BookTube, it obviously takes some time to get recommendations that are more specific to me. I'm kind of at the whims of other people and their posting, so that will be coming in November. I'm undecided if I'm going to do a tiebreaker for Goodreads, Storygraph, and Kindle Unlimited, so let me know if you are interested in that. This is the end of this series, but just a reminder, I will be doing this again in the future, and I am currently working on a series that will be the main focus for the rest of the year, where I'm reading my entire physical TBR. That has some changes coming as well because I'm delusional and have finally accepted that I probably can't accomplish what I thought I could because I keep buying books, but all the details for that will be in that episode. That will be out by the end of October. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for these 9 episodes. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with this. I read some absolutely incredible books. Like, I'm so happy with how this went, truly. And I've loved being able to hang out with you this month. If you've made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji just to say you were here, you can leave me a pig for The Black Farm. Cows are my first thoughts with farms, but yeah, pig is actually in the book. I'd love to know if you have any recommendations for me for different platforms that give recommendations, specifically ones that are more algorithm based and I don't have to do a lot of searching, because that obviously requires more time. I'm willing to put the time and effort in for recommendations, but for things like this, I think it's easier for other people to be able to test things out if it's more like just click some buttons and get some books. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this series, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.